entrusted unto us the word of reconciliation. So, how we reconciling our people? Through the word. That's why this word is so important. This is how we're bringing our people back, through the word. Okay? And you're going to have our people that are scattered in different locations. They have different backgrounds. Brothers in this group, they all come from different backgrounds. Right? You had some that were into Christianity. You had some that were entrepreneurs. You had some that were into that gang life or whatever. Right? You had some that were athletes. Right? All brothers came from different backgrounds. Right? But if this truth resonates with you, then jump on board and take heed. Okay, let me check the time. Take heed to these words, that you may be saved within these last days. We're going to go to Acts. I'm going to go into when Paul was amongst Israelite foreigners. Okay. Just a minute. All right, let's go to Acts 17 and 11. Start at 10. And the brethren immediately sent away Paul. Okay, Apostle Paul and Silas. Humid out here today. Okay, and Silas. Okay, which was a helper of Paul, okay, by night, okay. I looked into who Silas was. I forgot who he actually was. No, Jason. I think Jason was Paul's cousin. Silas was just a helper. I believe Jason was, yeah, Paul's cousin, okay. And that's what you gotta understand. You do know the disciples, they had a lot of relatives in the truth, okay. Paul's cousin was Jason. Yahawashi's cousin was John the Baptist. So you had a lot of families. You had his brother in the truth, James Jude. So you also have family members in the truth as well. Okay? And you had brothers as well. James, you had a brother, James and Peter also. Okay? Maybe just a minute. And went unto Berea. Okay? Who coming? Therefore went into the synagogue of the Jews. These were more noble, okay? They were more disciplined and more noble and more, chaste in the spirit. More upstanding, a lot more upstanding than the other citizens, okay? More disciplined, okay? In that they received the word with all readiness of mind. So they were more apt to listen. Okay, to the word. Alright? And search the scriptures daily. That's why it tells us, study to show thyself approved. You have to study if you want to understand it. Alright? And it says, whether those things were so even though we're telling you things, you still have to study. For yourself. Set up the blue letter. Set up the online etymology. Pick up your dictionary. I got a dictionary I'm lucky I got a dictionary from the 1980s, from the 1990s, which I go over sometimes. Right? You have to read, you have to study. You have to pray. Right? And the Lord will sup with you. Okay? Whether those things were so, whether those things were true. So they didn't just take the Apostle Paul's word for it. They studied. Right? They looked at these things. Okay? So there's sincerity in there. There's sincerity in studying and looking at these things. Alright? And it says, therefore many of them believed, also of honorable women which were Greeks, of men, not a few. So he also had what, women that were believing as well as the men, and they were Greeks. When it said they were Greeks, they were Israelites that were in Greece, right? They were Israelite foreigners, known as the Hellenists, because what? They were practicing what? Gymnastics, which you got gymnasts, and what? Athletes, just like you got today, right? So it's the same thing back then. All right, just how you had the Olympics back then, you have the Olympics back now. All right? And it says, maybe just a minute. But when the Jews of Thessalonica had the knowledge that the word of the Most High was preached, okay, of Paul at Berea, they came thither and stirred up the people. So you always had a remnant of wicked Jews amongst the synagogue. They were stirring up the people, their minds, right? You had those that were trying to stop Israelite foreigners from what? Hearing. Okay? They stirred up the people. Okay? And immediately the brethren sent away Paul to go as it were by the sea. Why? Because they were getting what? Carnal. Okay? And it says, but Silas and Timotheus abode there still. Right? And they that conducted Paul brought him unto Athens. Okay? And receiving a commandment unto Silas. Right? And Timotheus for to come with him with all speed, and they departed out of that region. Okay? And it says, now while Paul waited for them at Athens, and Athens was a heavy spot of idolatry. Okay, and Athens was the region of Greece. Some say Macedon, some say Greece. Okay, his spirit was stirred in him. So Paul's spirit, he's becoming agitated by what he saw around him. Okay, when he saw the city was given to idolatry, so he saw nothing but idols. Yeah, given to idolatry. Therefore disputed. Right? He in the synagogue with the Jews. Okay? And with devout persons. And in the market daily. The market would be the agora, and that's why the scripture says we have to be out here on the highways and byways. This is the marketplace. Right? With them that met with him. Then it says, then certain of the philosophers. Okay? So you always had philosophers. Like Bruce Lee, he was what? A philosopher. Okay? They were philosophical. Okay? So, philosophers, what do they do with? Reasoning. Okay? They do with, philosophers deal with what? What is it? What is it? Fables, trial, error. Of the Epicureans. So the Epicureans were those that were less disciplined. They were still studying, but they were less disciplined. They were doing things according to the flesh. They were trying things according to the flesh, whether it felt good or whether it did not. Right? They were more given to the flesh. And Stoics were more disciplined. Alright, so the noble men, they were more what? They were Stoics. Right? Encountered him, and some said, what would this babbler say? Okay, what would this babbler say? Other some, he seemeth to be a setter forth of strange gods. So others said, what God is he teaching today? Because they were known with what? They had different devotions. Okay? Because he preached unto them Yahawashi and the resurrection. And they took him and brought him unto Areopagus. Okay, another region within what? The Mediterranean. Saying, may we know what this new doctrine? They wanted to know what the new doctrine was. Okay, which it wasn't really new, but it was considered new to them. Because what? They had many doctrines. Remember, these were philosophers. Okay. Whereof speakers is? Whereof those speakers is? They wanted to know, they were trying to figure out what's Paul speaking about. Right? But I bring is certain strange. Right? Strange. Things to our heads. Right? It was strange to them. They never heard nothing like this before. We would know, therefore, what these mean. No, what's Paul talking about? Would you extrapolate? For all the atheists and strangers, which were spent their time in nothing else. So they gathered around these markets, and it's the same thing in New York today. 31st, 34th Street, what do you have? You have the black unconscious community. And not just them, you have what the nation wants it, the 5%ers, and they're all what debating? What different philosophies? You got the New Arbians, all debating different philosophies. You got Kemetism, all debating different philosophies. Okay? They spent their time in nothing and more what to either to tell or to hear something new, a new philosophy. Right? Then Paul stood in the midst of Mars Hill, right, and said, Ye men of Athens, I perceive that in all things you are too superstitious. Right? Superstitious is what? Given unto fables, when you're always guessing. That's what Paul said. You are too superstitious. Okay? For I passed by and beheld your devotions, which is what? Idols. Right? And I found an altar with this inscription. To the unknown power. Why? Because it was unknown to them at that point. That's why Yahawashi needed to expound to what? These Israelites of Yahawashi. Okay? And it says, Whom therefore you ignorantly worship, him did I declare unto you. Right? The Most High made the world and all things. Let me check the time. Okay, and all things. Right? Wherein seeing that he is Lord of heaven, power of heaven, and earth, dwelleth not in temples made with hands. So even that, there was a thing of what? The Heavenly Father, he's not dwelling in temples made with hands. Right? Because you had the outer court, you had the inner court. But there's a temple in the heavens. Right? The holiest of holies. Yahawashi is the holiest of holies. He's the ark in the holiest of holies. This is the temple. The temple is no more made with hands. Let's go to Hebrews 8. So you had our people that were what? Taught Yahawashi. Okay? Neither is he worshipped with men's hands, as though he needeth anything, seeing he giveth to life and breath. So Paul was teaching the Israelite followers. So now let's go to Hebrews 8. And we're going to go into something on the temple. Go to Hebrews 8. Okay. And this is concerning Hebrews 7, concerning the temple. There it is. If therefore, this is Hebrews 7, right? This is Hebrews 7 and 11. If therefore perfection were by the Levitical priesthood, right? For under it the people received the law. Alright? What further need was there any other priest should rise after the order of Melchizedek? And the order of Melchizedek was in the time of Abraham, a priest. And not to be called after the order of Aaron. Right? For priesthood being changed, it was made of a necessity, a change also of the law. For he of whom these things are spoken pertaineth to another tribe, of which no man gave attendance to the altar. So there's a new way. Okay? And it says, for it is evident that our Lord Yahawashi Okay? Sprang out of Judah. Yahawashi the Messiah. That's what tribe he comes from. Tribe of Judah. Alright? Of which tribe Moses spoke nothing concerning the priesthood. Right? He spoke nothing concerning the priesthood. Okay? It is yet far more evident for that after the similitude of Melchizedek. Who's that speaking of? Yahawashi. Right? Yahawashi was Melchizedek, the ultimate high priest. Okay? Where ariseth another priest? And the priests are what? Ministers unto what? The sanctuary. Unto what? The holy and the holiest of holies. Right? Then you have that veil. Okay? Who is made not after the law of a carnal commandment. Right? But after the power of the endless life. He's a priest made after what? An endless life. Endless. Alright? So he testifies that after priest forever after the order of Melchizedek. Forever. Not a changing of priesthoods. Forever. The old priesthoods you had to change. You had to change them priests. For there is verily a discerning of the commandment going before for the weakness and unprofitableness thereof. A counselling of that commandment, what? Going before the weakness and unprofitableness thereof, what? The weakness of our flesh. Alright? For the law made nothing perfect. For the law didn't make nothing perfect. Right? Because we're in the flesh of imperfection. Okay? But bringing in a better hope did Yahawashi. Okay? By which, okay, we draw nigh unto the Most High. And in so much as not without an oath, he was made priest, Yahawashi. For those priests were made without an oath, but this with an oath by him. That said unto him, the Lord swear, I will not repent, go out a priest forever, after the order of Melchizedek. Okay? By so much, Yahawashi made a surety of a better testament. The New Testament. So it says he was made a surety of a better testament. So we got confidence in a better testament, a better way. Right? And they were truly many priests. See, it says many because they changed. Okay? Because they were not suffered to continue by reason of death. Alright? By this man. Because he continueth ever. Alright? Have an unchangeable priesthood. This is going to be what? An unchangeable priesthood. Right? And it says, therefore he's able to save them. Okay? To the uttermost. Okay? That come. Okay? Unto the Most High. So it's all about Yahawashi. That's what it's about. Okay? The sacrifice of Yahawashi that brings us life. Right? The uttermost that come unto the Most High by him, by Yahawashi, seeing he liveth to make intercession for them. Alright? And it says, for such, right? An high priest okay, became us, who is holy, harmless, undefiled, separate from sinners, and made higher than the heavens. Yahawashi. Why? Because he was perfect. Okay. We're going to shut off soon. And it says, who needeth not daily as those high priests. They were doing daily sacrifice, not just yearly. Okay. To offer up sacrifice. First for his own sins, and then for the people. For this is the blood, right? It says that. When he offered up himself, Yahawashi. For the Lord maketh men high priests, which have infirmity, which have sicknesses. But the word of the oath, which since the Lord maketh a son, who is consecrated forevermore. Right? Which is holy. Forevermore. For if he were on earth, he should not be a priest. Right? Seeing that they are priests that offer gifts according to the law, who serve unto the example and shadow of heavenly things. Right? So everything that you saw within the tabernacle, okay, the carnal tabernacle, was a manifestation of what was in the heavens. Okay? As Moses was admonished of the Most High when he was about to make, right, the tabernacle. Right? So how did Moses come up with the idea of that tabernacle? The pattern. Through what? What was given to him in the heavens. Right? For see, saith he, that maketh all things according to the pattern showed to him in the mount. So in that mount, there was a pattern that was given unto Moses for him to make that mount. For him to make that tabernacle. Right? And it says, that's it on that. Okay. That's how he had that pattern. That's how he knew. Alright? From the pattern on the mount. Because everything is spiritual first. So now, what's the ark? The ark is Yahawashi. The tabernacle is wherever the camps are. Okay? So I'm going to shut off here. And Lord willing, this was edifying. And until the next time, Shalom.